The hot stove heats up, and Riz and the dog want to know what you're streaming. Diamond Diehards is on. Along with the dog, Jeff Healy. This is Joe Rizzo. Welcome once again to the greatest and now most frequent show on the internet. It is Diamond Diehards. You can follow us on Twitter and all social media at Diamond Diehards, and you can find the dog at Jeff Healy 8. That's the number 8, and we're gonna just jump right into it, dog. A lot of the free agent stuff is already starting to heat up. You got like the guys taking the qualifying offers, the caller from WFAN in New York going crazy when Trent Grisham accepted an offer that there was like no way he was going to refuse. Like 1 year, what 22 million. Um, and it's all like that's just like the first domino that seems to have set things in motion. Josh Naylor resigns with the Mariners, and it's like around here. I mean, let's face it, this is where most of our people are watching us from the New York area. So it's mostly Yankees and Mets, and there's other players that get involved. But in the center of this thing, with the Mets having just barely missed the playoffs, and the Yankees kind of meekly bowing out to the Blue Jays, it's kind of funny, dog. Like the Grisham thing really got people fired up, and for a kind of a nondescript center fielder, it's sort of surprising, right? Like that he drew so much ire. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's funny. I mean, you've been a fan of him, so it's I'm sure you're pretty happy that he's back with the team and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like you said, I mean, one year, 22 million, young guy, he still can can still certainly bet on himself, and bet on yourself, get 22 million, and then be more open next year for a bigger deal. So. I think it's a totally smart move by Grisham. I don't know why anyone sort of flipped out about it. And it seems like pretty good value um, for him, and you know, I don't know. I'm not really sure exactly what the problem is on it.
It's
So
a
it's
like the thing. You
like,
know what it is? It's so I think it's this, right? I think it's the idea that
I mean, did people just want to reject it so you could, just they can get the. I mean, it's like it's so self-serving, right? You expect them to get rid of the pick so you can get the draft. I'm sorry, get rid of the offer, decline the offer, so you get the draft pick next year. But I'm like, you have to consider from like his point of view. Like he has absolutely no problem taking that offer. It's a great offer, and like I said, he's a young guy. He'll do well, and get a bigger deal next year. So not sure what the surprise is.
well, I think I don't think it's so I don't think it's surprising that he took the offer, and I don't think that's what people have a problem with. I think they have a problem with the Yankees actually making the offer, like basically knowing that like he would be an idiot not to take it unless somebody was coming in and swooping, offering him more years and similar, per year average annually. But I think the idea is that you just spent a big chunk of money of this year's salary on this guy, and now like that's less money that you have either for Cody Bellinger or for Kyle Tucker or for somebody else that's out there. And I think the kind of like worst case scenario in Yankee fans' heads is you lose Bellinger somewhere and you don't get Tucker, and now you have Grisham in center and you have to rely on him. Whereas like even for last year, you were always like, well, like, are we really going to play him every day? Like, do we need to play him every day? And like, he just kept hitting and playing good D. Although I guess the playing good defense thing is debatable as well. Who knows what that even means these days? Where you got John Heyman or whoever the hell it was. I don't know if it was Heyman, but saying like Cody Bellinger with like the subpar defense. I forget whose tweet it was, but like everyone's like, "What? What the fuck are you talking about?" Like you watch the guy play every day. Like how could you think he's bad defensively if you got some idiot metric on there? The guy's like one of the best defensive players in the league, no matter where you put him. But
I'll take that. I'll take
yeah, I
that
mean,
subpar defense and center.
well, here's the thing, right? So now that's another domino. The Yankee fan like, look, there's no doubt you have PTSD that you lost Juan Soto to the Mets, and you kind of feel like, well, is this now going to become a thing where some of our marquee guys, whereas in the past they would never think about going to Flushing, all of a sudden they all want to be the king of Queens over there, and is that what's going to happen with Bellinger? Is that these free agents that are in question that both teams are in contention for? Like, the Mets are a viable option now more so than they've ever been in this Yankee versus Met thing, if that's a thing. So I think there's some of that. But, there's also some kind of strange business going on with the Yankees that you have to think about in terms of their outfielders, where you have, Jason Dominguez was a guy that people thought, was going to be your center fielder of the future. And I don't remember if they let him anywhere near center field last year, but as a left fielder, he's been a complete and utter like he's basically like he is to left field what Juan Soto was to right field. Every now and then there's like a spectacular catch and you're like, "Oh, well, maybe this guy's got it." And then like you watch him the other 161 games and you're like, "Yeah, well, as long as he hits." you know.
Such
So,
such trash talking of my right fielder there.
well, he was my right fielder. I watched him for a year,
Not
straight away
bad.
every day.
Not bad.
Oh, no,
Come
come
on,
on.
you're a little spoiled with Judge. I mean, using a Judge metric or something like that. So it was okay. He's not a. I
He's
don't think he's a liability out there.
I do.
He's
I
not.
don't
He's
think
not.
he's a good outfielder.
I would. Yeah. I would. I think he's average.
As a
That's all.
hitter, he's a great outfielder. That's I mean, his bat does
Or you
way
say
more
as an
than enough to
outfielder, he's a
carry
great
him in,
hitter.
right? Like his bat does more than enough. But as a
Yeah.
fielder, like he at the beginning of his Yankee tenure, I was like, wow, this rap on Soto is BS. And he played great defense for like the first 2 months. And then it was like, has the guy ever played out there before? What happened to that guy? First of all, he should be a left fielder and not a right fielder. That would solve a lot. Like that
Fair.
just make him a left fielder. Don't make him a right fielder just because he wants to do it. But anyway, dog, point being, there's Tucker, Bellinger, but the Yankees have Dominguez in there. They still have Giancarlo Stanton kind of blocking that DH spot. And now he's a further year removed. He was only playing the outfield just because Judge couldn't play the outfield. Like you're not going to expect him to be in the outfield mix again, in 2026. But then you also have the matter of Spencer Jones, who's the Yankees best prospect probably, and one of the best prospects now, and quickly rising up the charts in the major leagues. So you've just committed 1 year to Grisham, but you haven't committed to him long term. And I do feel like maybe people are making a little too much of a big thing about it because they do have enough money to kind of like make that into a 1 year mistake if in fact Grisham is a 1 year mistake. Like you have I always talked about it on this show, which has been going on for 6 years now somehow, by the way. Even if there haven't been that many episodes, like, an episode for each of
A
your
lot. We're
fingers.
just not normally distributed.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're just
We have an
we
F
were
tail
like
going.
we were like this, and then now we just kind of do this.
Little
But
F tail. The left tail.
yeah, so yeah, that's the ticket. But I think that I've always said it, and I still believe it. No matter how much money you put into the salaries, you still have to have good business management. And in the end, that was like the Dodgers basically were like the worst example of it, like kicking, dirt in the face of my theory there. Like by right, they should have just walked away with everything this year, and they were life and death to win the World Series in like a seventh game up until literally the last moment, they probably shouldn't have won.
Yep.
And they had so much of an advantage of funds that they were able to overcome it. And even with that, they needed the $320 million
Big
man to
odds.
do something superhuman, right? That we haven't seen in 20 something years. So, Yamamoto doing well, I guess Bumgarner
The
did it.
oral horse has.
Yeah. And, a few other guys over the years have kind of done it. But you still have to manage it well. And um, the part that's more important is that you don't tack on the extra years to these contracts. it's much better to make a mistake and overpay somebody, but overpay them for the short term rather than paying them in terms of years. Like they're still paying DJ LeMahieu. He's not making a ton of money on their, against what their luxury, essentially what their luxury tax threshold is. But, they spread it out over like 6 years when you pretty much knew that, like, okay, yeah, he's not going to be that good in 6 years. And, it probably happened a few years earlier than they thought it was going to be with LeMahieu. But, um, 1 year for Grisham, they could just go out and, they could get back Bellinger and run it back again with Grisham and Bellinger and Dominguez, who was totally buried. Um, and just let Spencer Jones, cook for another year. Or if the inevitable happens and people get hurt, then you bring him up and you put him in the mix. I think the thing that you really have to look at for the Yanks, and then we'll move on to the Mets after this, Dog, uh, is what are you going to do with first base and catcher with regard to Ben Rice? And if they're just gonna try to let Ben Rice catch half the games and Austin Wells catch the other half, if they're gonna try to do Wells for 100, Rice for 60, and then spell in Rice at first base and maybe let him DH if you want to give Stanton some days off here and there. But once again, sort of like landlocking that DH, that's one thing that sort of, it
Yeah,
creates a
you've been
problem.
big on that for the lack of access with the DH and stuff, and yeah, it's starting to kind of come home to roost.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's been times like if you have Edgar Martinez or Big Poppy, and you can make an argument for Stanton that he's that level of guy. It's just that he doesn't post, right? Like he doesn't. He's always hurt, and when he's in there and when he's hot, it's not a problem. But like in the 2024 playoffs, like not only was it not a problem, it was the thing that kept them, alive and got them, to the fifth game of the World Series because he was just on fire and unstoppable. But in this year's playoffs, he was the strikeout machine and made a lot of big outs in big spots. So the flexibility of DH, I think, is always a help. I don't know, because of his contract and like he's too good that you just he's not DJ LeMahieu where if he doesn't hit for a while you're going to cut him. Like you're just not going to do that to Stanton. Like he would have to be so pathetically bad, which is I just don't see that. Like he still has ridiculous power. He still hits the ball hard. He still has a lot of clutch moments. So they're going to have to figure something out there. And, Rice will be playing a lot of first base, I think. I think they should try to play Rice at third. They should let him try to do a little bit of third base. But we'll see. I also think maybe they they should be looking into a shortstop, the Yankees, and maybe just moving out of some of these high strikeout, low contact guys, even if they put up good numbers. Like, again, in the end, like you need to score some runs and manufacture some runs. And, the third highest scoring offense in the league, like it's just too easily shut down by a decent to good pitcher. It is.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's kind of exciting for baseball that you're starting to see a little bit of a pushback on that three outcome, and I think it's healthier for the game, frankly. And we've been talking for years that that was sort of and it's sort of funny, like even the top teams are almost starting to lead to switch over to it, right? That was our argument sort of last couple of years. It's like that's the Pirates, Royals, like all that, like they're the ones who should be leading in that, and sort of weirdly, not particularly. It's really been kind of the top teams that you'll notice, when it gets down the stretch run in the playoffs. Um, they have those guys to have that ability to to play the small ball and find a way to manufacture runs and so forth. And these other teams simply don't. So I think, like I said, I think it's good for baseball on that, and I hope to see that continue.
Look at the Blue Jays, right? They were able to manufacture runs, and they should have won the World Series basically.
Yeah, and they were like the classic like three outcome team probably 2 years ago, right? But they
Yep,
added in all the other pieces around it, and made themselves a much better, deeper team.
yep, they did. Dog Mets, it's got to be
Hmm.
about the pitching, but I guess the
Well,
focus here early is Diaz and lining up the closers. What do you think about that?
yeah, it's nervous time in Metland. We gotta see. To me, this seems like a couple no-brainers. And one is bring Diaz back, and two is bring Alonso back. And the other one seems to be too obvious to people right now. So, um, I once again say that in New York, you pay a premium for a guy who can deliver in the clutch in New York, and not everyone can do that. And when you try and get cute on it, you wind up getting roasted a lot of times. And I will say that's something I think the Yankees historically always had and had that mindset, and I think that's right. And I think if you have a Diaz who has routinely gone out and displayed it, at the top, yeah, you got to pay him. You know what? You have Steve Cohen. Do it. Like, don't get cute. Don't get whatever. I mean, and if anything, with the Met pitching, you saw, it's Diaz plus. And you take Diaz away, that was the one inning you got that was solid. I mean, you have enough problems trying to get, from the fifth to the ninth. You take away the ninth as well, uh, that's a mess. And
Well,
I don't see why the Mets would let that happen. Particularly, it fits in. I mean, the team loves him. He loves the team as well. Obviously, um, the money's gonna be the money, and it's gonna be big, and that's the way it is.
what about the connection of Devin Williams and his old GM?
Great for the eighth. I think if he's thinking of that for the cheap way to solve for the ninth, I think David Stearns would be setting himself up to get run out of New York on a rail. I think that's a no good, horrible idea. Um, Particularly, I mean, I think the Yankees kind of tried that last year, and they got roasted by it. I mean, he turned it around and was improving, and maybe that's him in a couple of years again. But boy, I wouldn't trust him for theoretically a playoff team in New York. And oh, by the way, replacing one of the best in the business. Um, I mean, that's just nuts. I don't know why. I don't know why. I think that would be a horrible resource allocation on that.
So,
Um,
are you
I
saying
mean,
you
you,
want
you could
both? Are
you
you
could
saying
argue
you
you're
want
overpaying for
both?
him
Are you
for
saying
the
you want?
eighth.
Are you saying you want both Diaz
I,
and
I
Devin?
I need as much pitching as I can get. So yeah, I would. But if it comes down to it, Diaz has to be priority one, and you have some young guys you hopefully can kind of stitch along that maybe you can figure out six, seven, eight. But you have to have a lockdown nine, and Devin Williams is not a lockdown nine, in my opinion. Not right now. So you want to bring him in on that and as an eighth and a backup for Diaz if Diaz gets hurt. That's great. That's a fine move. Um, but if it's Williams over Diaz, that's uh, that's gonna be a non-starter in my opinion.
What about Suarez from the Padres? Step down to both for you? Doesn't have the quite the numbers, but he's kind of been
Yeah,
pretty effective, right?
yeah. I mean that's an interesting one, right? I mean, again, sort of the problem with Williams is he's already sort of had some issues in New York already that you're setting your franchise up to get roasted on it. Um, Suarez is a good pitcher. Again, as I'd like to see it in New York. Um, would I like him over Devin Williams? Interesting. Devin Williams has been tested and he rebounded somewhat, right? So I would kind of give the push to Williams. I'm okay with Suarez for uh, as a setup guy as well as Williams. But yeah, that's probably a push trade, honestly, to me, Suarez and Williams. I mean, so Williams, you could argue, has a little bit more upside that if he does regain what he had at the Brewers, then maybe he's got the plus two on that. But he's a riskier pick, right? So it's like he could rebound and be great for you, or maybe that start of last year really was that's starting to kind of come through, and which is the real half, right? The first half or the second half. So probably the second half, right? Guys have trouble adjusting to New York, and then once you clear it, you get better. So, um, but again, a risky move for a GM who's disappointed last year already, right? I mean, he had the opportunity to get cute a little bit last year. He got cute and didn't really kind of work out very well. So this is not cute time. This is do the right thing team time.
Jerry Milani chimes in. That hedge fund money isn't going to launder itself. What number will Edwin wear with the Yankees? Dog, your thoughts?
Oh, Jerry. Oh, Jerry.
Dog,
We're
you
back
want?
to we're going back to horses and courses and where George got his dough.
Dog, do you
Shipping,
want?
shipping the biggest slush in the world, shipping industry.
Dog Alonzo. How
Another one.
how bad? So here's the thing, right? Like we
The
always
funny
feel
thing is,
like
why does nobody else seem to value it so much either? Like that's what's crazy. I'm surprised. The Mets, as much as they've been slow walking it, I'm shocked nobody else has thrown stupid money at Alonso to pull him away. So, I mean, I once again, I think this one, frankly, is an owner override. Where I think Stearns might even be like, you know what, we can stitch it whatever. The Mets have never had a premier position player go minors to retire. David Wright was the closest we got, and then the injuries got him. Pete Alonso is that guy. He is beloved by the fans. He is producing. You made him go out and do another prove it deal. He went out and proved it again. Um, Stop screwing around. Write the check, get it done. That's it.
but how, again, to me, this just becomes a question of years. How many years are you going to commit when you know that hit like let's face it, we were talking about Soto, right? The eventuality for Soto is the guy's going to need to DH. Like he's just I know you think he's a better fielder and we totally disagree on that cuz I think he's just subpar already. He's like in his prime or hitting his prime and he's already like not even like average. So I don't see him getting better, although it's possible. He's at best, I feel like maybe he'll stabilize and give you what he's got for 4 more years. But then, you're still going to have what, like 7, 8 more years, 9 more years left on the contract. And he's going to have to DH more and more and more. And he'll always hit. Like he'll hit until he's 50. But um, he's just not going to be able to play the outfield for that long and your team is going to need him at least in a rotational DH position I would think. And with Alonzo, like that's where he's more likely to end up as well, right? Like depending on the years. Like dog,
Yeah.
this reminds me like in the earlier days, right? Of Diamond Diehards. George Springer. Remember we were talking about George Springer? And there was so much like, should the Mets get him? Like, should the Mets get him? Like, they need a guy to kind of help get them out of the wilderness. And Springer's a winner and whatever. And they had a huge gap in center field. And I was like, well, he's not going to, like, he's going to get you center field for like a year or two. And then you're going to have to play him in the corners. And like, okay, the guy had like an amazing bounce back year this year where he was like third in baseball and like OPS, which nobody saw coming. But basically, he was like a DH. Like he got hurt and stuff, but like his outfield skills, like this guy was like a good outfielder and his
Yeah.
outfield
Yeah.
skills diminished. So what's going to happen with a guy like Alonzo? Like if you're signing him for more than like 4 years, like you got to believe every year after that fourth year, he's going to be like pretty much close to a full-time DH if you have a winning team. So I think it becomes more of an issue of that. What team is going to be willing to give him that? I mean, the Mets, I don't even think the Mets are going to be willing to give him 4 years. I think Stearns would give him three at the most, and he would do it begrudgingly because I just don't think that I just don't think David Stearns wants Pete Alonso as a player because he doesn't fit the metric and the makeup of a team in terms of the structure and the way it's built and the dollars you spend on a right-handed hitting 30-something-year-old first baseman who's, average at best defensively when it's like a spot that you could fill for a third of that and get, a platoon, you get guys off the scrap heap all the time and you just don't have to pay him nearly as much. So I just think that's his philosophy because you know what? Everything that the guy does shows me that. Like otherwise he would be signed already. Why would you wait? The guy is like if you didn't have a mascot called Mr. Met, like Pete Alonso would be Mr. Met. Like that's
Yeah.
what he would be. Like instead he's the polar bear on, by the way, on his own private iceberg right now, which is not where he wants to be. He
Yeah.
wants to be in an iceberg in City Field, not on his own private number 253 home run iceberg dog. That's
I mean, you have a point with the, and that's, you kind of talked about like Stanton stuff and like the logjam at DH and stuff like that with the Yankees, and they struggle with that later on it. Um, can I get a 500 home run hitter for the Mets? I mean,
I mean that's your
I
Huckleberry.
mean,
Like
for
he's the
Christ's sakes,
guy.
if it's 4 years, if it's 5 years, you know what? Figure it out. The last couple, I mean, so many times, like I don't know. Sometimes that solves itself. I mean, I think he can play a decent first base for a while. I think you can take, if you have to, yes, you can take a defensive. He's got soft hands, which is key for a first baseman. And if that's sort of your strength, you can play a long time at first base on that. I mean,
Yes.
we're not asking Keith Hernandez out there. I think he's okay defensively. I think he's a little underrated defensively, frankly.
I think
Uh,
he's a better defensive first baseman than Juan Soto is a defensive right fielder.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. And I mean, you make a point. I mean, suppose there's talk that Mets potentially trying to move Nimmo, and maybe that's kind of looking towards Soto. Then maybe you take Soto and put him in left and setting that up for kind of down the road. That I think kind of makes sense. I mean, I think that's how you solve it. Is um, Nimmo is probably the odd man out on like those three.
But he's got
Um,
a hard contract to trade, right?
yeah,
And I love Nimmo as like
and it's not,
as a
and
player,
it's
as an
not that you got to
hustler.
do it the next year or two, right? I
Yeah,
mean, I think that's a year three, year four thing. You have to. If you could do it earlier, I think so. I think you would. I think the real key, actually, the Mets need to fix center field and they need to fix the pitch. That's they need the run prevention. That's kind of what they were getting at, um, and they need to clean up the whole Beatty, Mauricio, Acuna, Vientos. I mean, we need two of those dudes to do something and be that, and then move the other two guys for a starter or something like
well,
that.
here's your so
Like you hope Beatty's the answer, and he's taking those steps. You just can't feel 100% on it going in
so
because
to
that
me
was
you
Vientos last year.
but
We
as
thought we had
far
to
as
fix.
Alonso's concerned, I think you brought up the key name in the whole argument, and that's Vientos, because I feel like Stearns values Vientos highly, and he views Vientos' future as a first baseman. So if he can't do anything with Vientos, and Vientos is cheap, right? Like he's going to be cheap. Again, it's still like I said, even with all that money, there's still economics at play. You still have to build your team with some reasonable facsimile of economics as your as your bottom line. And he fits that. Like you don't like that's a high value player. Now he didn't hit the way in 2025 that he did in 2024, but you expect that he's probably going to level out more to where
And
he
his
was
defense
before.
is sketchy at third.
Yeah, but at first he would be better than Alonso, I would think. I think he.
Where's the Moneyball thing? It's incredibly difficult to play.
I
I have no idea. I mean, we've seen him a couple of times. He has not looked great. I mean, it's not really a fair comparison on it.
well,
Um,
I just think that a guy who's good enough to play third base in the major leagues probably is going to be pretty decent at first. Like, look at Vlad Guerrero. He came up as a
yeah,
third baseman, and first of all, everybody blowing his joint about how great of a defensive first baseman he was in the playoffs. Like, come on, like he's good, but he's not. He's not really that good of a defensive player. First,
yeah,
he's good and he makes some spectacular plays for a big guy, but he's like he's slightly above average, I would say. And
yeah.
I don't care. I don't listen to any of these defensive metrics, but Jerry Milani in the chat said Soto got his four again in right field, and I'm asking in the chat if that's
Well, we
official
know
breaking
why.
news.
Jerry's put his thumb on the scale.
He doesn't have input into that, but he would
Oh, I know.
know
Of course
if
he does.
Soto is a four in Stratomatic. Okay, it's not officially public. I mean, I don't know what we are.
I don't know what Jerry's doing right now.
Judging by the download numbers, there's more people
Jer-
in the
Jer-
Stratomatic
Jer-
offices
Jerry's
that
like
know his
hacking
rating
this.
than on our listenership.
Jerry's hacking a Strat database just to make me look stupid. He's a four. He's not a four, Jerry. He's a three.
Oh
Ish.
boy.
Three. Maybe a high. I'll give a high.
He has no
He gets
influence,
there.
but it's
Doesn't
it's not
always still
officially
annoy gets
it's
there.
not
Come on.
officially public, but let me just say this. I'm gonna
He's
bet
a
a
four.
lot that Juan Soto is a four when the Stratomatic ratings come out. Hey, if we start doing shows on the regular again, we're gonna have Jerry back and go do some of our marathon
I'll be
strat
honest.
rating
I
shows.
was looking to try and pull that down. That's like the best reference out there.
I know. It really is. It
It
really
really is.
is.
I mean,
Like
oh,
like Strat was way ahead of this stuff where like the combination of like metrics versus the eye test, especially on
yep.
defense. The
Yep.
Stratomatic ratings are so accurate, and they have been for a long time. Like you
Yeah.
would see guys that won a Gold Glove, and you're like, this guy's like not really that good. Like, and then you
Yeah.
see in Strat, you're like, oh, he's a three. Or
Yeah.
there's a guy that like doesn't win a Gold Glove, and you're like, wait a
This
minute,
guy's
this
so
guy's
much
like
better. Yeah.
freaking a vacuum over there, and he's a one, right?
Yeah.
Our buddy Jeff Fry, she gone, was talking about defensive metrics. That's like a big thing now, where people are talking about how WAR is like so inflated based on which defensive position you play, and like Robbie Alomar, who you and I both watched his career from
Yeah.
day one to his final day, right? And you played Stratomatic, so you're paying attention.
Yeah.
And like there was just no question that Roberto Alomar was the best defensive second baseman in the league for,
Yeah.
the whole meat of his career, right? Like
Yep.
far and away, like there were guys that like
Yeah.
had good years or good runs, but he was
Yeah.
always at the top. And Chase Utley, same, right? Saw his whole career, watched him very closely. He was always he was a good defensive player, but he wasn't like in Alomar's class.
Yeah.
And yet Chase Utley's defensive WAR is like 17, and Roberto Alomar's is like 3.3.
No, that's
Like
insane.
it's
That's literally insane.
it is and like then people I think the comparison that our buddy Frank at not Gaetti, you got to follow him if you don't already. I'm sure everybody who listens to this podcast probably does, but
Yeah.
I think he posts some good comparisons like Kevin Kiermaier WAR versus Joe Carter, and Kevin Kiermaier's career WAR is like it's like almost double what Joe Carter's is. And I like Kevin Kiermaier. He's
Yeah.
a solid player. He's a great defensive center fielder. You know, didn't hit too much. Like like Joe Carter was a three position outfielder and then eventually moved to first base. Early in his career, he was actually a pretty decent outfielder, but like by the metrics, he's horrible, you know.
Right.
But you know, it, the guy, if he was playing today, like where would his value be? Like, I think he would be a valuable player, even though he was a guy who, he didn't walk a lot, but he knew how to drive in runs. And, a team like the Blue Jays, which event, picked him up and he won the World Series with them. But like they're going to start to value those kind of guys again because driving in runs is a pretty valuable skill that is really, by the nerds kind of considered to be lucky. And it's just not. It's
Yeah.
just not. There's just no there's sometimes luck involved, but when you're driving in 100 runs a year, like every year, there's just guys, it's not luck. Like, yeah, you might have a lot of guys on base, but like you still got to do it. You still got to
Yeah.
rise to the occasion, put the bat on the ball. And I think we'll start to see hopefully this stuff turn around at the youth level. You and I are now kind of past that with our kids. You're still at the very, very, very tail end of it, but not in the formative years so much. Either of us are getting a firsthand look, but like get metrics out of there, get bat, exit velocity and pitching velocity. Just get it out of there. Like teach the kids how to pitch, teach them how to play, teach them how to situationally hit, teach them how to put the bat on the ball, teach them why that's good, and then promote that as a team, and then start valuing like winning a little bit
Yeah.
and playing winning ball. Like even if your team is not winning, if you're doing the things that can help your team win, eventually you get to a spot where it becomes, Ernie Clement like could have easily just been the World Series MVP. He was a guy that was released by the friggin' A's 2 years ago. Right. What does he do? He plays great defense with a glove that he bought on eBay and he puts the bat on the ball. Right. So,
Great.
all right. Before
By the
we
way, I
switch,
do it just to put one back on Alonso here. So using the MLB trade rumors, that's my favorite sort of getting us start talking. Pete Alonso, 4 years, 110. Backing into the whole like they did 7 years, 158. He's made 50 the last 2 years because he's been betting on himself. 4 years, 110, and that's not the Mets. We riot. I'll tell you right now, Met fans will riot. This guy goes to the Red Sox for 110. Met fans are gonna riot. And don't tell me Vientos is replacing him. Vientos better hit freaking 340 with 35 knocks if that's the case. And nope.
Stearns thinks he could do it.
The fan base is already pretty spicy right now. You let Alonso walk for 110. That's bad juju.
Yankee fans will be spicy if he does that. Yankee fans would rather have him be on the Mets than on the Red Sox.
Just had to leave that.
Listen, I mean,
that's a doable deal. No, I don't know. He might get more than that. We'll see. Maybe not though. I don't know. You make the points. I mean, no one else is really offering that. So I will give the Mets credit on that one. They've kind of read the market right so far on them, and they've still kept them.
4-1-10 is
We'll
27.5 million. Is that right?
What's that?
4-1-10 is
4-1-10
$27.5 million a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just started 30. I think he had wanted 30 was his like his sort of goal. I remember a couple years ago and whatnot, but maybe 25 last couple. A little extra kiss on there. I mean that's a reason that I think is a reasonable deal. I think they can live with that. I think Pete could certainly live with that.
If you're the Mets, then would you rather offer that or 3 years, 90 million?
Yeah, you do it 390. Yeah.
And then if you're Alonso, which one are you taking? If you're assuming you're taking it.
I think you take the 4-1-10. You're starting to bet on yourself a little too much at that point. You're betting on 35-year-old self at that point. I think that's close enough. I think you take the 4-1-10 if you're Pete versus the 390.
We'll see what they offer.
You can only get cute so many times. I mean, you can get injured, right? At some point here, you do kind of like the overall money matters too. I would say on this one for him. Up until now, you can play the sort of game. I think this is well, I mean, whatever. He's already got more than he can know what to do with anyway. But even Boris, I think, would say take the dough.
I got a great alternate destination for him.
This is gonna piss me off. Go ahead.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. You'd be like, oh shit. Well, I guess if we had to lose him, the Pirates. Have you seen the Pirates are in on people? They were in on Josh Naylor. They were in on Schwarber. They're in on Schwarber. If you add Schwarber and Alonso to the middle of that lineup, and you already have
you would more than double their payroll.
Yeah, but you would get a lot. I mean, you could win that division.
Yeah,
with the pitching that they have already, you have an ace at the top who could do wonders, right?
Yeah.
They got this kid that they're talking about at short who's 19. They're going to give him a chance. Apparently, they're going to give him a chance to just win the job at 19. and they've moved out some of the baggage, but like a guy like Brian Reynolds who they signed and he's kind of fallen off a cliff, like he would be a lot better if he all of a sudden had Schwarber in front of him and Alonso behind him or something, right? Like so all
I yeah. I mean, as cool as the fun would be, and I would root for the Pirates on that. I think Pete would go out of his mind if you want him signed in Pittsburgh.
if they won, what if they won? They
But
could
if they
win the
won,
division.
okay. I don't know. Kid from Tampa who's like been hanging out in like New York and living the New York life for a while, and then also like you're going to Pittsburgh. I don't know.
Best park in the league.
It's beautiful, beautiful. You know, I like to
Plus,
pitch. I'll go see him.
plus
I'll
dog.
go see him. Good seats
Plus,
still available.
there's one other thing. Pittsburgh. I'm going to Pittsburgh.
Puppies are ready. So,
All right, Doug. So before we switch over to what are you streaming, um, let me ask you a question.
mhm.
Did you ever like try to sort of plan like an informal event? You're going to be somewhere, get together with a couple of your buddies who might be in town. You kind of like you spearhead the whole thing, and everybody else kind of moves their schedule around. And then the day of, you're just kind of like, oh yeah, I had a conflict, guys, I can't go.
You mean pulling a Gallagher?
But no, I don't know. I'm not saying that ever happened. I'm just asking.
Like tonight?
I don't know. I'm just bringing
I
it
mean,
up.
yeah, yeah, occasionally. I mean, who would do that to his friends?
You you want to
You.
do it. No, if you're not watching, look now. You want to do it. You. All right. I had to get that in there for you, Doc. And Cav. And Paul. That's for you guys. Our our loyal listeners. All right, Doc. What are you streaming? So while everybody is streaming the Ken Burns Civil War thing, which I know you are, and I'm dying to do it.
A little bit.
Uh, Debbie Riz, who has been
Mhm.
an integral part of this show over the years, decided a couple of nights ago, yeah, we're gonna finally watch The Crown.
Oh, okay. There you
Okay,
go.
so I'm the worst binge watcher, series watcher. Like I've made like Lost, which is already has been off the air for like 15 years, whatever the hell it was like that.
I
I like
started that one like a year or two ago. I was the same thing. I hadn't watched it either.
yeah. So no, I had watched it like when it was happening,
Uh-huh.
and like let's see, I've watched like Outlander and I don't know, like very few other things. Like I'm the worst guy. Oh, Cobra Kai, Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Outlander, Cobra Kai, that's pretty much been it for me. Maybe she could remind me of other stuff. But a couple of years ago or whatever, last year, I was like, oh, you know what? I think like she hasn't watched it. Like, and she's great at it. Like, she watches all these things and she reads. She like outreads me. It's embarrassing. But I don't read fiction. So it's kind of like, I give her the W on that. I just take the L. But, dog, I was like secret. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna start watching The Crown, and I'm not gonna say anything. And I got like 8 or 9 episodes in, and I love history. So I know you know that, but like maybe our people don't. Like I love history. I'm not really much of a fiction guy, so this is like the things that are at least a long history, even if they have to make some stuff up. Um, it's more like not.
Historical fiction this year.
Yes, yeah, kind of, right? Like embellishment, historical
Yeah.
embellishment. But I heard The Crown, kept pretty good to, current events
Story. Yeah. Hmm.
and they did a really good job. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna start doing this. And then I don't know, I mean, I wasn't doing shows to take up the time, but whatever else I was doing was just taking it. And I kind of like lost out on it. I'm like, I never went back to it. So like last week, she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna start watching The Crown." I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 The Crown! Hey, you can't like start." I'm like, "You got it." I'm like, "I'm in. I'm in." So fortunately, like I was able to like get it fired up, where she was already like a couple of episodes in, but I was kind of like half asleep on the couch. I'm like, "Oh wait, I remember that," and then I was into it. I was into it. A little
There you
juice.
go.
I was into it. So I was like, "All right, this is good. I don't have to rewatch anything. I could just pick it up." And so we got through season one, and I'm like, so then it was coming time for like watch time last night when there's no like devil game on. We're out of baseball season and it's not a weekend, so it's like watch time, and I'm like, Oh, so maybe we'll try a little the Ken Burns first episode. Yeah. I mean, you could go watch it upstairs if you want. What? I'm gonna watch The Crown down here. I'm like, no, you can't. Like, you can't get ahead of me. Then she goes, no, if you don't watch it with me, like, I'm not waiting for you. Like, you can't keep up with my pace. I'm like, I know I can't keep up with your pace, but like, so
Wow,
now as she's
that's
like, you can watch the Ken Burns thing on your own time. So now I'm
wow.
trying to find out what my own time is, and that's why I'm behind and I haven't
Welcome
started
to
it.
empty nest diehards.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's
Getting
tough.
heated.
It's
Yeah,
tough.
you can't be if you're in it together. You gotta be in it together. You can't go ahead. That's not right.
I know, but now like I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I got to get the Ken Burns thing in.
I don't know.
Okay.
Somehow, oh, by the way, somehow I was flipping. This is the dog typical dog flip out. I'm like, so I decided I want to watch the Ken Burns thing last night, and so I'm like firing up. It's like episode 4 or something like that, and I'm like, all right, let me just go like watch whatever. I got Hulu. I got every freaking streaming thing. It's like cable, but I pay more, and I can't change the fucking channel anymore. And like I'm going through, and it like wants me to get PBS Plus to like watch the thing from like 2 or 3 days ago. I'm like, PBS Plus. I'm like, first of all, bitch, I'm like, I pay fucking taxes already for PBS. I'm like, why the crap am I sitting here paying extra money to go watch PBS from like 3 days ago? It was crazy. You know,
Wait,
like I go to just to watch like episode 1. I'm like, all right, I'll catch up to it and go whatever. And like I couldn't do it.
as of what day was that? Because I was
I don't know.
getting it
I was
set
like,
up
what,
last
last
night.
week or something like that. I think it's like each day. I think it was just Monday. I assume. I think or Sunday. I
No,
don't know.
I
Whatever
was setting
day.
it up last night, and it wasn't I don't think it was like charging me extra.
I don't know.
How much is it?
Maybe I'm overreacting. It wouldn't be the first time.
How
But I
much
saw.
is it?
I mean, the last thing I wanted was another stupid app. I just wanted to watch the goddamn thing. Like it's on Hulu. It's from like 3 days ago. I should be able to watch it. All right.
But
I'm
it's
not.
not.
I'm not looking for Heartbreak Ridge.
It's only on the PBS app.
It was on the PBS app. I couldn't do it on Hulu and just like watch America. Like it had it. It was showing it, but I couldn't watch it. But it's gonna like redo it like next week, and I can record that or something. I'm like,
So it'll be on channel 13, and you could DVR it.
you can read, yeah, you can do that ahead. But I'm like, I don't know. It was entirely more difficult than it needed to be. Like
Yeah, I
it
was
just
trying
didn't
to figure
seem
out where to do it, and I was getting myself set up, and I did download the PBS app on my Apple TV, but I didn't see anything like, and I made an account and everything.
maybe it's free. Maybe the PBS app is free. It's a one more stupid app. I don't want another app. I don't need
I
another
know,
app just
I
for
know.
PBS. Come on.
Somebody
I
had a
got
good
Peacock.
tweet
I had
today.
Peacock from the stupid Olympics forever.
Somebody had a good tweet today about like, if I want to watch every Yankees game this year, I need like, it's like 9 things of
Exactly. Like
streaming.
this is simply getting too difficult.
Yeah,
Honestly, it's crazy. But
you just
so
need
let's
to be
see.
able to
Am
buy the
I
package somewhere, right? Like,
exactly?
package it up. So
So
what?
let's see.
So if you're
What am I
not
streaming?
streaming that yet, then what are you streaming?
What am I streaming? Well, we just finished off Slow Horses. That was a big one my in-laws were watching. That's Apple, I think, Apple or HBO, one of them. Gary Oldman as sort of like an age decrepit sort of MI5 agent over in the UK, kind of riding around. That was a fun one. That was a good one. So we watched that. That was like five seasons, like 6 or 7 episodes each or something like that. So that was fun, like modern day spy counter spy kind of stuff going on. So that was good. I mean Gary Oldman was just unbelievable, like everything. So he was fantastic. Kristen Scott Thomas, I think, was in it too. She was really good. So that's still ongoing. That'll be kind of coming out. We tried. What's the one on Netflix? There's one with Claire Danes and Matthew Reese, both of whom we like. On Netflix. Uh, he's like a rich guy moves in next door, sort of like a shady kind of dude. She's like a writer, all sorts of angst, stuff like that. We made it through an
Oh, The
episode.
Beast in Me.
That's it. There we go. So
Okay, it's
I
only
knew
one
it was a
season
B, but I
so
couldn't
far.
remember what it was.
Only one season so far, so
Yeah.
you catch
Uh,
up.
not our thing. Not our thing yet. So I don't know. We may go back to it. We'll see. I wanted because they're both really good, and we've liked them in other stuff. Um, I don't know. Maybe it's, you gotta be in the right mood, I think, to kind of get it. Last night was not it. Maybe the Diplomat. We'll circle back around to. We've watched it before. We got a new season now. Drop that. I don't know.
So,
That's about
Dog, I read a book called Destiny of the Republic, A Tale of Madness, Medicine, and the Murder of a President by Candace Millard. It's
it. Ooh,
about
that sounds good.
Garfield.
Okay.
And now the hottest thing is Death by Lightning on Netflix. So once again, guess who's out in the wilderness and has to figure out how to watch Death by Lightning by himself?
There you
This
go.
guy. This guy.
All right.
I'm like trying to even like, I'm like going to,
Oh, I had my stupid shows too. That it's cat. Actually, it's funny. Cats refers to it as my stupid shows. So,
but
so
like
I
I'm
had
going to
I had
Debbie
invade
Rizzo.
had invasion, which is a really stupid one. Foundation. That's a less
You
stupid
like
one.
one word shows.
I don't know. It's Isaac Asimov. I like it. Um, yeah, so we had that going on. Um, oh, what was the other one? That was Paradise. That was a fun one.
Again,
Paradise.
another one word one.
That was another one word. That's true.
Dog, you got to watch
I have to
Outlander.
fire up Homeland again. Just keep it going.
Yeah. Got to watch Outlander. That's a one word.
That's true. The Expanse. No, that's two words. Expanse, two words. I don't know, maybe.
Is it? Succession? That was one word.
Succession. Yeah, I finally watched. I hadn't watched that in forever. We did watch that. Binge
I
that.
haven't done that one. No surprise.
Yeah. Oh, The Wire. That was the other. That was the other one. That was what we were streaming before Slow Horses. So The Wire was like another one on my I gotta do's. So I finally got that done. That was definitely worth it. So going through that. I still have never done Breaking Bad, which is probably the last egregious one I have to do.
Yeah, I think Debbie
I feel
Rizzo.
okay about Lost. I sort of did the first. I did the first season. I did like the last episode. I was like, I think I'm kind of good. I'm like, I get the gist. So, the pit, of course, we'll get that going again. So
So
as my son's visiting the pit, while he's at the pit.
Dog either does shows that are one word or the one word.
Yes. There you go. So it was a fun one.
Uh,
How about anything else you're streaming?
no, well, I'm like I was pitching Debbie Rizzo. Like I'm like, so we're watching The Crown, right? Like that's England. I'm like, we should watch the Ken Burns thing because that like it's like a warm up for that. Like
It's
then
and it's very. I would say the Ken Burns thing is very much. I mean, that's sort of part of the criticism. Maybe somewhat okay. A little bit of like sort of a view from like a lot of historians were sort of a little bit more from the British view of the revolution. So kind of comes through,
that's a good
which is
way
not
to
bad.
paint it. Like,
Yeah,
and of course, like Mad Dog, who I listen to every day, like he's into it and he's
yeah,
talking about it, and he was actually supposed to have Ken Burns on last Friday,
yeah,
but Ken was sick and he's going to be on December 11th. So I'm like, I gotta finish this by
yeah,
like December 11th, you know?
yeah.
And
I mean, he's an amazing guy putting it together. I mean, you could argue sometimes maybe it leans one way or the other or stuff like that, but the actual product and just like um, the presentation that it goes through and the depth and synchronization of music and the uh, and the voiceovers and stuff. I mean, he's just unbeatable at that. So, and it's a
speaking
very
of,
understudied part of American history, which is completely bizarre. But like people get like up to the Revolutionary War, like Valley Forge and like Yorktown. Other than that, no one
little
else knows stuff.
Little
Yeah,
Ticonderoga.
yeah. My kids basically didn't know Benedict Arnold. I'm like,
Wow.
what?
Like they didn't even watch.
Which, by the way, why do we give him a pension? You gotta like read back like the whole backstory of Benedict Arnold. We totally effed that guy. By the way, he got shot twice. He got shot. The horse dies. He falls down. The horse falls on him. We still don't give the guy a pension for his widow. Come on,
They don't even know him
you gotta
from.
throw some bucks. It's
They
like the
don't even.
Wilpods were running the country back then. What's going
they
on?
don't. They don't even
The guy's
know him from
breaking his
Mike
leg.
Zahn, 1776.
Exactly.
The one guy, listen, the one guy that you could
You
trust,
gotta
the
count
one guy that you gotta back is Benedict Arnold.
It's so true. That's the hilarious part. That's what makes it great.
Dog, Ken Burns, the great Ken Burns. Speaking of hard lefties, Randy Johnson's getting his number 51 retired by the Mariners finally. Which I, which when I heard, I
He
was
was
like,
not retired.
that's what I said.
How was that
I
possible?
don't know.
Wow,
I don't
that's
know.
crazy. That's crazy, Tom.
Yeah.
Beltran making the haul this year, or will you save that for another episode? Maybe we'll save that.
That's another episode. I think we could tie a
Another
bow
episode.
on
Yeah,
this
let's
one.
let's save it. Let's save
Got
it.
to start watching
You're gonna
the
get Boomer
Devils.
on. Get
Devils.
Boomer on. He's a voter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got to start watching this Devil Panther game since two of the Rizzo triplets are at the game in
Nice.
Sunrise. So we got to see if
Excellent.
we can locate them there. It's kind of like a family watch along. So
There you go.
that was good. I knew it was. We didn't do Die Hard Dads, but what are you streaming? That seemed to be like,
Yeah.
I
I'll
don't know.
check
We'll
the
just
block.
put in a little segment here every now
Yeah.
and then when we feel like it. And
Yeah.
of course, you can count on us to be back predictably uh,
Yeah.
whenever we feel like it. So in the
10 minutes
meantime,
after Riz calls me.
yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Hey, Dog, you think we could finish up by 7? Yeah, there's a cheeseburger inbound, but I think I could do it. So,
Cheeseburger sitting downstairs.
yeah.
The Diamond Dog is eyeing it up.
Oh boy, I better let you go. That will do it for another great episode. Once again, you can follow the dog Jeff Healy at Jeff Healy 8, the number 8, and you can follow me, Joe Rizzo, at Diamond Diehards. If you're watching live on the Facebook group, we appreciate it, and we appreciate you interacting. Jerry Milani carrying the ball here today. Our pal Mike Serra tied up in his biggest week of the year here. Otherwise, he's usually on there
I'm sorry,
throwing in
Diamond
his
Cat. What was that?
comments. And I saw my old pal Love is on, George Morris. So thanks, Love. We'll recognize a few of you here when we could see him pop up. In the meantime, that will wrap it up. And if you like to follow your podcasts, we are on all of the platforms. I actually go back and re-listen to it on Spotify. There's no video element there, but we're on YouTube and Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere you could think of. Wherever there's a video element, I don't know that we always have it. Like Spotify does have a video element, but I think you have to be like big time to be video on there. Um, so you could check it out. YouTube. Follow us, subscribe everywhere, and we appreciate the support. But definitely join the Facebook group because that's where we really get to see the most of you. That will do it for I don't know, Dog, a Thursday Night Live, as we used to like to call it. We will wrap it up there. For the dog, Jeff Healy, this is Joe Rizzo. Diamond Diehards is out.